Chicago is known around the world as the birthplace of the skyscraper, and today it holds a strong reputation for having some of the best architecture in the world. Chicago is also famous for its super-tall skyscrapers, with 6 of them crossing the super-tall threshold of 984.3 feet, with one more currently under construction. However, there are many other super-tall skyscrapers that were proposed in the past. With some getting as close as a groundbreaking and others remaining just a dream, here are 5 super-tall Chicago skyscrapers that were never built. The Chicago Spire is undoubtedly the most famous cancelled Chicago skyscraper of all. It was designed by Spanish architect Santiago Calatrava and was revealed to the public in 2005. The building would have been an even 2,000 feet tall, and it was approved by the Chicago Planning Commission in May 2007. Groundbreaking took place just a month later in June in the Streeterville neighborhood of Chicago. Construction progressed as far as the foundation by the fall of 2008, but the financial crisis that had begun that year and a lack of funding resulted in further construction being cancelled. By 2014, the project was cancelled completely. To this day, the foundation of the Chicago Spire remains empty, a scar left on Chicago's downtown. However, there are plans for an entirely new 2-building complex, with one tower reaching 1,100 feet. 7 South Dearborn was an even earlier super-tall skyscraper plan that was also cancelled due to financial issues. It was also planned to be exactly 2,000 feet tall, but that was including the 450 feet tall twin antennae on top of the 1,550 feet building itself. It was first proposed in 1999 by a European-American realty and was approved in the same year. Architect Adrian Smith, future designer of the Trump Tower, Chicago, and the Burj Khalifa, designed the building, and the family resemblance between the three is quite clear. However, financing wasn't able to be secured for the project, and things completely fell through by 2003. In the building's place, 1 South Dearborn was built instead at a much shorter 571 feet and was completed in 2005. The Illinois is quite possibly the most ambitious skyscraper project planned for Chicago in history, and potentially even the entire history of the world. It was revealed back in 1956 by the world-famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright. The building would have had an unbelievably insane height of 1 mile, which is 5,280 feet or 1,609 meters. Wright did not have a proposed location for the building, and there was also no client for the building either. He did, however, envision all government offices in Chicago being relocated to the building, and enough living space for thousands of people to be built. To this day, many people see the Illinois as simply an attention grabber for Wright, who unveiled the building 3 years before his passing. The design lives on in Chicago history and in Chicago beer, as Goose Island is bottling a new IPA called the Illinois. The Miglin-Beitler Sky Needle is perhaps the most tame skyscraper on this list. The tower was designed in 1988 by Cesar Pelli, an Argentinian architect who also designed the Petronas Towers in Kuala Lumpur. It would have been an impressive 1,952 feet tall, which would have easily been the tallest building in Chicago had it been built. The real estate developers behind the project, J. Paul Beitler and Lee Miglin, intended the building to be used for office space as well as an observation deck. Fun fact, the building would have been only a few blocks away from the Sears Tower, meaning that viewers in the Sky Needle observation deck would literally be able to look down on the Sears Tower sky deck. However, Chicago experienced a crash in its downtown office market in 1990, which resulted in the cancellation of the Sky Needle plans. An additional unfortunate note to this story, Lee Miglin was murdered 7 years later by the same serial killer who would go on to murder famed fashion designer Gianni Versace. The last building on this list is the old Chicago Main Post Office Twin Towers, or just the Post Office Towers to keep things simple. It was part of a redevelopment project at the location of Chicago's old post office. The post office moved out of the building in 1997 in order to move to a new and modern facility which was literally across the street. In 2009, British developer Bill Davis bought the property and worked with his company to envision a $3.5 billion project featuring 2 twin towers, both of which would reach 2,000 feet tall. It had gone through several revisions and by 2013 had been approved. However, in 2014, Bill Davis and his new development partner company cut ties, and the plan for the post office redevelopment fell through. Davis put the building up for sale but found no buyer. Fast forward to the year 2019, and the building will now host both Walgreens' Chicago offices and Ferrara Candy's offices. So you've made it to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribed. This is only the first of hopefully many informational videos about Chicago and geography and architecture and all other sorts of related topics. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all next time with some more geography videos.